Good morning, students. Am I audible to all of you? Okay. Okay. Am I visible? Am I visible? Okay. Is this PPT visible to all of you? This presentation, can you see the slides? Okay, good. So today I will be teaching you estimation of hemoglobin by Sahli's method. Okay. So how do we estimate hemoglobin level in any individual or in a patient? I will tell you how to perform the experiment in the lab. So the prerequisite is we require few instrument and HCl dropper and all for performing this experiment. So the apparatus include, most important, we need a Sahli's hemoglobinometer. Then we need a N by 10 HCl and distilled water, pricking apparatus, that is a pricking needle, and then a stirrer and a dropper. So this is the pic of the Sahli's hemoglobinometer, which is kept in your hematology lab. When you will come, you will perform estimation of hemoglobin with the help of this apparatus. So this involves a comparator, or this is a rectangular box. This is called a comparator. Then this is the bottle of N by 10 HCl. Then this is the pipette, and this is the hemoglobinometer tube, and inside it there is a stirrer, which is a glass rod. Then this rectangular box, which is called as comparator, it contains two standard solutions with the help of which we compare our sample. We compare the color of our sample with the help of these two standard color against a bright white light or against a white background. Okay. So the Sahli's hemoglobinometer consists of a single mark pipette. Can you see this pipette? Okay. This is a single mark pipette. We draw the blood up to this marking, which is 0.02 ml or 20 microliter. It has only a single marking. Up till here, we draw the blood taken from the tip of the finger. Then, as I told you, this is the comparator. This is the comparator. Then inside this is a hemoglobinometer. In this, we keep the N by 10 HCl and the sample of the blood, and we add distilled water drop by drop. Then this is a glass rod, which is called as stirrer. It is used for mixing of the blood. Okay. It is used for mixing of the blood. It should not be withdrawn outside the tube. It should be kept inside the hemoglobinometer tube throughout the experiment. All right. But when we see the level of our reading, then it should be drawn up above the level of the meniscus, but it should remain inside the tube throughout the experiment. This is how it looks like. So hemoglobinometer, Sahli's hemoglobinometer consists of a single mark pipette, which is called as hemoglobinometer pipette, and it has a single marking which shows 20 microliter, or it reads as 0.02 ml. Up till that marking, we have to draw the blood. Okay. So this is the mouthpiece. We have to suck the blood with the help of mouthpiece and draw the blood up to this marking. Then the round or square hemoglobinometer tube is graduated in percentage. It has two different types of marking or graduation on either side of the tube. On one side, 10 graduated from 2 to 22 in gram per deciliter. Okay. So we take the reading in gram per deciliter, not in percentage. Square tube is preferred over the cylindrical tube because square tube avoids the error. Then, as I told you, It has a glass rod which is called as stirrer. It helps in mixing of the blood sample with N by 10 HCl, and when we add distilled water drop by drop, it is used for mixing it. Then the rectangular box or comparator is fixed with two solid colored glass rods. Okay, these are two solid colored glass rods, and the reading must be taken against a opaque white background, and ideally natural daylight is required. Okay, so this is the diagram of your apparatus. This is comparator, rectangular box, and this is the standard colored glass rods. This is the graduated hemoglobinometer tube and opaque white plastic black plate. It is the white opaque background which helps in taking the reading. So this is the graduated hemoglobinometer tube. On one side, it has marking which reads from 2 to 22 gram per deciliter. On the other side, the marking shows 10, 20, 40 until up to 140%. But we take reading on this side in gram per deciliter. Between 2 and 4, this is 3, then this is 5. So we can take the reading in point also. This is the hemoglobinometer pipette. This is the mouthpiece with the help of which we suck the blood sample from the fingertip. This is the rubber tubing, then this is the glass tube. It has only a single marking at 20 microliter or 0.02 ml. Okay. Then this is a glass rod. It is stirrer. It has a flattened end which helps in stirring for handling of the stirrer. Then what is the principle of this experiment? The principle of the experiment is the amount of hemoglobin can be estimated by conversion of the known volume of blood. Over here it is 0.02 ml of blood into acid hematine by the addition of dilute HCl and then subsequent calorimetric comparison with a suitable standard. What are we doing over here is we are taking a known volume of blood, that is, we are adding it in up to 20 marking in the hemoglobinometer tube N by 10 HCl. Then we leave the blood N by 10 HCl for 5 to 10 minutes. We let it stand, which leads to formation of acid hematine, which is brown in color. Then to match the color with the standard, we add distilled water drop by drop until it matches the color of the standard, and then we take the reading in gram per deciliter. It tells about the status of hemoglobin in an individual. We can know whether the patient is suffering from anemia or not. Okay, are you getting it? Students, can you hear me? Okay. So what is the procedure? First, with the help of a dropper, we take N by 10 HCl in the graduated hemoglobinometer tube. In this hemoglobinometer tube, we take N by 10 HCl with the help of a dropper up to the lowest mark, that is 2 gram per dl. This is N by 10 HCl. Okay. And then we have this dropper. We take N by 10 HCl with the help of this dropper and we add in this hemoglobinometer tube up to the lowest mark, that is 2 gram per dl. Then we have to prick our fingertip under aseptic precaution, and when a drop of blood of a reasonable size is formed, then you have to hold the pipette horizontally like this, and then you have to draw the blood up to this marking, okay, 20 microliter. Then you have to take care that no air bubble is formed inside the tube, and you have to immediately transfer the blood sample to N by 10 HCl in the hemoglobinometer tube so that the blood inside the pipette does not clot. Okay. We have to take the pipette away and wipe off any excess of blood which adhere to the tip, because it will lead to overestimation of hemoglobin. Then we have to leave the blood sample with N by 10 HCl for 5 to 10 minutes for the formation of acid hematine, which is brown in color. Okay, and we have to stir it with the help of stirrer. We have to mix the blood with N by 10 HCl with the help of a stirrer, and it should only be lifted above the sample inside the tube. It should not be taken out completely out of the hemoglobinometer. Then we have to add distilled water drop by drop until the color matches with this and as the color matches, we have to take the reading in gram per dl. We have to take two readings because it is not possible that the color matches exactly with the standard. We have to take one reading which is slightly a shade above or darker, a shade darker than the standard, and then the other reading which is the shade lighter than the standard, and we have to take the average of the two. Okay, then this is the important note that at no stage the stirrer should be completely taken out of the tube. Like we should not take the tube, like we have to stir, and then while taking the reading, it should be only lifted up to read the meniscus, but it should not be taken out of the tube. Then for colored transparent fluid, lower meniscus needs to be read. Since the color may match to seen over a wide range of dilution, it is advisable to take the average of two readings as I told you just now. That first when the color is just a bit darker and the second reading when the shade is just a bit lighter than the standard, and then we have to take the average of the two. This is the picture of Saheli's hemoglobinometer. In this figure, in this one, the sample is a shade darker than the standard. Then over here, the sample is a shade lighter than the standard. And over here, it is exactly matching with the standard. Then while performing the experiment, we have to take few precautions. What are they? First of all, the finger should not be squeezed while taking the sample because it will lead to excess tissue fluid in the sample, which gives underestimation of the hemoglobin. The hemoglobin level of the subject will be underestimated. Then blood from the pipette should be transferred immediately into the hemoglobinometer tube, which is already containing N by 10 HCl. आप उधर ले लीजिए मैं आपकी प्रैक्टिकल चलिए तो यहाँ पर भी कुछ मीटिंग होने वाली है तो आप लैपटॉप उठा के ना बगी में लगा लीजिए साथी हेल्प कर दें इस सामान उठा के I'm continuing my teaching. Am I visible? Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay. Am I visible to all of you? Okay. So I was telling you about the precautions which we have to take during performing the experiment of estimation of hemoglobin. The first point I told you, was it clear to all of you? Was it clear, students? What happened, Abdul Samad? Okay. So the second point is, I told you that the blood should be immediately transferred from the hemoglobinometer pipette to the hemoglobinometer tube so that it prevents the formation of clot of the blood. Then the third precaution is, the blood after mixing with N by 10 HCl should be left for at least 5 to 10 minutes. We have to leave that sample aside so that there's complete formation of acid hematin, which is dark brown in color. Then distilled water should be added drop by drop. Otherwise, over dilute lead to globin. Then the matching of the colors, otherwise the match of light. So this was the end of the experiment. Was it clear to all of you how we have to perform the estimation of hemoglobin with the help of Sahli's method? Okay, was it clear to all of you? When you will come to the lab, then you will get to perform your experiment and you will get a more clear understanding of the experiment. But with the help of this online mode of teaching, I tried to give a rough idea of how you will have to perform this experiment once you come to your hematology lab. So was it clear to all of you students? Ending my teaching over here. Thanks a lot.